Hi guys! Today here on Translating Spiritism, I will talk about how we should study Spiritism to a good comprehension of it. How do you study Spiritism? By watching the Spirit's manifestations? By reuniting their teachings? No, my friend. Spiritists do not rely on manifestations to learn about Spiritism, because they've already been organized by Allan Kardec in the 19th century. His deep studies focused on the universality of the teachings received from the spirits from all over the world, showed us a very concise and consolidated doctrine that answered to us better than any other doctrine questions like: where do we come from? Where are we going? What are we doing here? As a result of this work, he's published some books, each one clarifying about some aspects of the Spiritist doctrine. 5 of those are considered the basic books of Spiritism. They are: 1. The Spirit's Book, 1857. It's the starting point. The teachings were obtained from the questions asked directly from the spirits, whose answers are transcribed in the book. It contains about 1,000 questions and answers, and it's divided in 4 parts. Part 1. First causes. Kardec starts with the origin of everything, asking about God and the universe. Part 2. The spiritual world of the world of spirits. The material element being the object of material sciences, Kardec turns to the spirit's world and asks stuff like: where did they come from? Why did they communicate with us? Why did they incarnate and discarnate? Part 3. Moral laws. This part is about understanding the laws that rule the spiritual world, and in consequence ours, showing us that the moral teachings of the spirits are the same of Jesus. Part 4. Hopes and consolations. It approaches questions about divine justice in our present and future life. The next books unravel those subjects in a more detailed mode. 2. The Medium's Book, or the Manual for Mediums and Evokers, 1861. It's kind of a manual for mediumship. It deals with the manifestations of spirits and the difficulties and struggles that involve in the practices of spiritism. It explains even the mediumship in animals. It's important to reinforce that there is no cake recipe for mediumship, and that mediums cannot do everything when talking about manifestations. 3. The Gospel According to Spiritism, 1864. It contains the explanation of the moral teachings of Jesus Christ and the life of the Spiritist doctrine, showing that they are universal and divine, independent of creed, and guide for humanity. It explains unintelligible parts of the Bible in a logical way, making the figure of Jesus even greater. The introduction has some very interesting subjects that I'll leave for you to discover. The last chapter has a collection of Spiritist prayers. If you don't know how to pray, start here. 4. Heaven and Hell, or Divine Justice According to Spiritism, 1865. The title is self-explanatory. It's divided in 2 parts. Part 1. Doctrine. It examines what some doctrines say about heaven and hell, angels and demons, future punishment and reward. Kardec refutes eternal punishment in its own chapter, with arguments taken from the very laws of nature. Part 2. Examples. Kardec transcribes many mediumnic communications to show the different kinds of destiny people can have after death, from benefactors to criminals, from suicides to happy spirits. It shows where the theory presented in the previous part comes from, giving a wide idea of the different facets of life after death. 5. Genesis, Miracles and Predictions According to Spiritism, 1868. It presents the study from the spiritual viewpoint of these 3 subjects, treated separately in the 3 parts of the book. It starts by talking about the character of the Spiritist revelation, about God, and about good and evil. These 3 chapters are very interesting and enlightening. This book talks about the history of Earth and explains Jesus' miracles and predictions in the Gospels. There are some other books that are worth mentioning, who complement the basic books and have reports about Kardec's life. They are Posthumous Works, 1890, published 21 years after his death. It contains studies that Kardec hadn't published about various themes like Jesus' nature and Spiritist music. The second part contains many reports about Kardec's history with Spiritism, since the first Masonic reunion he went to. What is Spiritism? 1858. Published less than 1 year after the Spirit's book, it serves to introduce Spiritism and to show why it's worth in studying it. Way shorter and cheaper, it helped the propagation of Spiritism. Spiritism in its simplest expression, 1862. Even shorter than the last one, it was sometimes freely distributed, helping popularize the Spiritism. Spiritist Travel in 1862, 1867. It contains the reports of the trips Kardec took throughout France, visiting the nascent Spiritist movement. Spiritist Journal, from 1858 to 1869. Starting in 1858, it was a monthly journal with lots of Masonic messages about several subjects, Kardec's theoretical essays, and news about Spiritism. With the subject diversity, he concealed several demands from the public. Remember that a lot that was published there hadn't passed the university sieve yet, so we cannot take everything as true. On the other hand, some of its texts were later incorporated into the basic books of Spiritism. There are a few more books, but less relevant for a first study of Spiritism. It's important to remember that the importance of Kardec comes from the universality in his books, only publishing the concordant teachings and also being very didactic in all his explanations. There are other Spiritist authors, incarnated or not, who have given great help to the Spiritism codification later, but their works may contain some personal opinions of their authors. Some of the most known are Leon Denis, Emmanuel, André Luiz, Joana de Angelis, and some others. So that's it, guys. Don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel. Make yourselves comfortable to ask questions in the comments. Share with your friends and acquaintances so more people come to know Spiritism. See you on the next video!